thanks to our members, and also to the members of the press who've come to support our cause here. Let me introduce my colleagues who are here, but first of all, before I do that, can I just ask everybody to look to their phones now and put their phones on vibrate or silent or turn it off, because obviously the press are going to be recording and we don't want big, personalized phone rings while we're doing this. All right, so if everyone can do that now, and then we won't have the embarrassment later on. Welcome. This is Luke McKenzie. Luke McKenzie is the chairperson of COAD, COAD, sorry. And then we have Juliet. Everybody knows Juliet. Juliet is at the moment, she's the secretary of COAD. COAD is the Council of African Descendants. That's what it is. It's a Council of African Descendants. It was started here. Juliet, if she smiles at me, I have to smile back. It was started here very recently, but it's something that we've been struggling with for months now. And we, after George Floyd, we felt that as a community, as a Caribbean community, and an American community, people who've come back from the diaspora, we felt that it's essential that we do something ourselves here to help smooth the progress of people coming into Gambia, and we needed to do it in a constructive way. My name is Matthew Hippolyte. I am the owner of Hyperlink. I've been here for the last 15 years. Myself and other workers, Gambian workers, we built this dome that you're in, and we built the whole resort that we have here, which is Hyperlink Village, which is quite well known to the community, and maybe to some of you. I've seen you come here before for other press conferences, so thank you again for coming. What we're going to do is, I'm going to tell you, just give you a short background to COAD, and then I'm going to hand it over. I always keep saying COAD, and she always COAD. To COAD, the Council of African Descendants. Let me just put the whole thing out there. And then I'm going to hand over to Juliet to give you a little bit about what we're fighting at the moment, and also to Luke. And then later on, we're going to be handing it over to the floor for questions. We good?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So, COAD, as I said, COAD, as I said, is an organization that had to happen. We as people coming over to this country to settle, we've contributed quite a lot to the country, and we found ourselves, particularly very recently, in a very, very awkward situation where our contribution almost amounts to nothing in the eyes of the people who are in power here. This really came to the fore when we started to look at the Constitution and what it meant for us as people who were resettling here. Because the Constitution basically labeled us as aliens. It had no reference to who we are, and whereas in places like Ghana, people were welcoming back people from their diaspora with open arms and giving them automatic citizenship. And here we're fighting for automatic citizenship because we feel that what Gambians have to realize is that we are you and you are us. We weren't asked to be taken away from Africa. We were taken away from Africa. So our foreparents were maybe your aunties or your uncles or maybe your grandparents or great-grandparents. They knew my great-grandparents, and we were taken from here. So to come back here after all the struggles of slavery and all the other things that we've been through, to come back here and then be called aliens and have to jump through hoops in the same way as we have been doing in Europe or in America or in any of these places, it's a little bit disheartening. I'm just going to give myself as an example. When I came here, the second week I came here, I bought this place. I was fortunate enough to be able to afford to buy it because I've been involved in properties in England. When I bought this place, I paid 22 million for the site. It's a very large site. And that's my money coming from my pocket. Me investing in this country. I'm not a tourist. I didn't come here to be a tourist. I came here to resettle because I felt that, you know, I'm back in Africa. And I felt that, you know, being back in Africa, that people here would welcome me in that way. Beyond that 22 million, the whole total sum in terms of taxes and wages and salaries and all the other things that's amounted here is amounted to about 76 million on our last assessment. 76 million, but yet I have no rights. I have no right to be here. The only right I have is the right that a stranger would have walking into somebody's house. I don't want to feel so vulnerable, and there are many other people who want to actually come and who want to settle in this country at the moment, and they're in the same situation. When they say to me, oh Matthew, this is nice, oh, and they ask me questions, what do I tell them? Do I tell them, no, this is a very safe place to invest in, or these people have your back? I can't tell them that, but they want to come. And lately, more and more and more want to come. And, you know, we want to contribute. You'll hear more about that from my colleagues on the stage. But I'm giving myself as an example because, you know, by and large, the people who are coming back here and the people who you see in the audience, members of the Council of African Descendants, the people who you see in the audience are people who are either settling here or have settled here already. So, you know, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting us. And I'm going to hand over to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. I'd like to thank all of the press houses that are here today. My name is Juliet Ryan. My Gambian name is Nyanko Mandela. And I am the co-founder with my husband Adrian over there of a YouTube channel called BlaXit, which was founded by Rhoda Maya, who is a prolific vlogger about Africa. As a result of an interview which I did with him, which went viral, he encouraged me to start a channel showing the best of the best of the best of the Gambia, which I was only too pleased to do because of the fact that I've been coming here with my family since 2011, and I fell in love with Gambia, let's just say from the first step. When we arrived at the airport, we were told, welcome back to your ancestral home. No one in the world, I've been to 28 countries, and no one in the world has ever welcomed me back to my ancestral home. And that has touched me throughout my whole life. In fact, it touched me so deeply that we sold our house, we sold everything, my cars, everything, to come back here to live where we live permanently now. And so this isn't any mean feat. We absolutely changed our lives. We turned everything upside down, put things in containers, shipped them, you know, and started a new business, started a whole new life, and thankfully our brothers and sisters here helped to patronise our business, and we helped to patronise theirs, and we worked in partnership in order to do that. We built our home, we built a beautiful 4-bedroom house, and all of the contractors that we have used have always been Gambian. We believe in putting back into the communities that we live in, and we're currently working on a huge project, an eco project, to build around 300 houses over the next 5 years. So that's no mean feat. We also have attracted 232 investors to the Gambia who want to open a whole plethora of different initiatives here that will be beneficial to the community. And these would also be inward investment. And I also want to just quickly touch on the fact that I was invited to Ghana. So I didn't have a choice as to where I went. But my heart is in Gambia. And I think that's really crucial that, we're here because our heart is here, and because my grandma told me that, a long time ago, that we came from a place called Cambia, but I didn't find Cambia on any map. It was only after my second visit here that someone explained to me that Gambia used to be called Gambia. So therefore I was able to trace my ancestral roots back to where I actually came from. So, these are our origins, and like he said, I'm just going to see the press release just quickly, as you all have a copy of it. Now, I wrote this, not all from a journalistic perspective, but from a very heartfelt perspective, because what's happened with the recent CRC has severely affected us, because our journey has been that when the draft constitution came about and the CRC started its initiative in 2017, we were actually here lobbying with 27 other people in 2016 for automatic citizenship. So this has been a very long and drawn out process for us, and we seem to have come full circle only to arrive at the same point. So although the CRC listened to our submissions, we made 72 of them, it seems as though they only went so far as the report is concerned. Now that's a great concern to us, because the Constitution that is now being debated on, now being discussed and read, has impact on us for many, many years moving forward. So the aspect of citizenship for us has had no material change. 15 years. We have to wait 15 long years through the process of naturalisation to get citizenship here. Although other international rules and laws indicate 5 years is sufficient in other places. But in Gambia, it's 15 long years. And I want you to compare that and compare Gambia, which is our home, to other African nations. So let's talk about the year of return in Ghana, which amassed $1.9 billion in the year of return to Ghana. But yet Gambia has Kunte Kinte, has a story of the roots. Gambia has a story that the world knows about slavery, repatriation. Gambia has Dottie Bookman. Gambia has heroes of slavery, and has heritage slavery that is totally known around the world. That's how we knew about it. So for us, this is a treasure, us being able to return. Unfortunately, the CRC did not include those changes in the current constitution, the 2020 constitution, and that's why we are here. The draft constitution did not include the changes made on the, did not include the changes made during the actual discussion as to what would be put in and be included in the constitution. Now that omission has really affected us, which is why we're having this press conference today. And COAD was created because the Council of African Descendants, we realised, many of us, including us at the table here, there was no official voice for us that was an organised, represented group that was officially registered here. So that is the reason why COAD was founded, and many of the COAD members are sat around these tables around here and are involved in the process. And many of them are, like us, residents who have been here and are investors here in the Gambia. So what I'm asking for is for the His Excellency. I would like His Excellency Adama Barrow to hear our cry, to hear our words, and please resurrect section S188 and please amend it. We're asking all of the National Assembly members to please amend the Constitution to include section 188. It is a step in the right direction in moving things forward. We don't have to tell you that we're African. You can look at us and you can see that we're African. If we sat here with our mouths closed, you wouldn't know where we were from. Our ancestors are your ancestors. Your ancestors could have been taken from the shores just as my ancestors were taken from the shores. We are asking His Chief Justice Jallow, please hear our plea and allow amendments to be made and include Section 188 in those amendments. We've gone as far as creating a compromise, which is the automatic citizenship model that we have talked about and we have included in the press release. That is easy as 1, 2, 3. The first step is that we're asking for a certificate of citizenship to be stamped in our passports. So we have partial citizenship when we arrive. It's not full citizenship, but it's partial citizenship. And to change our alien cards to certificate of citizenship. That's very important. We find alien cards to be very hostile, and that was even mentioned in the report written by the CRC. So we would like that to be changed. The second step is that we would like to have an integration and assimilation program that would also include us learning a language, whether that be Mandinka, Jallow, Wolof, Fula, but one of the main languages here. And we would also like to regain our family. So we would like to be adopted into a family and adopted into a village. We would still have our residency cards, which we would renew annually. We're asking for this process to take 2 years. After 2 years, which is step 3, we would like then to apply for full citizenship in the same mode as has been done before. And we would also like to have a development fund, because we realise that 15 years we will be buying residency cards for. So instead of that, we would like to put that money into a development fund, and that development fund would go into investing in the areas that most needed it, and particularly those people that support the automatic citizenship campaign. So without further ado, I would just like to say we have almost 3 million views on our channel. So the world is watching Gambia. The world is watching Gambia. There are now more vloggers vlogging about Gambia than any other African country. Gambia is on the map. And Gambia is on the map for the best reasons ever, because it is the most beautiful, wonderful place to live with the most beautiful, wonderful people, and that's why I'm here. I'm not here because of citizenship, I'm here because of you. You made me feel welcome, you've made us feel loved, you've made us realise where our family really is. So, although it's just a piece of paper, it's an important piece of paper. The way you've made us feel has changed my life. To think that my son is now 9 years old, is going to have to be 24 before he becomes a citizen after going to school here, going to college here, going to university here, I think it's unfair. I also see it as discriminatory and unjust. We should not allow colonial laws to separate us. We should not allow anyone to separate us. We are one. Can you imagine if that $1.9 billion was here in the Gambia? Do you know how many jobs that could have created? Let's do it together. That money wasn't brought in by European fund agents. That wasn't brought in by the UN. That was brought in by your brothers and your sisters. And so, the time is right and the time is now. That's all I want to say, right? For us to really discuss what can happen to the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia 2020 promulgation bill. We feel that the time is now. Let's not waste this opportunity to work together. We've made all of our suggestions here, and we think that Gambia should be the first nation in history to have automatic citizenship. We want Gambia to make history. We want His Excellency Adama Barrow to be the first president to make history in Africa for offering African descendants of the enslaved automatic citizenship. Thank you.
My name is Mackenzie, and I'd like to welcome all the press here today and all the members from COAD to come and support us in this event. It's a very important event for us. The situation is that we have set up this association to support those that are coming in from America and are coming in from Europe and returning home. Now, we've been asking for citizenship for quite a while, and we've been put off, and we've been delayed, and we've been promised, and we've been given warm words, but after so many years of receiving warm words, we can see nothing. We see other people coming to the country, Asians, Lebanese, Chinese, come in, and they get an audience with the president and they're treated so well. But we come in, we bring our money, all these other communities will bring their money and send their money back to China, send their money back to Lebanese, send their money back to India. When we bring our money, all our money stays here. We don't take our money anywhere else. We have nowhere to take our money. Okay? We come to settle, we come to stay. But the situation is that we don't feel safe having no citizenship. We don't feel safe that we're going to invest our money and something could happen and our investments go to waste. We've worked, most of us worked 40 years of our life, and we are ready to come and retire, but we want to retire in peace. So what we're asking today is, we're asking the Gambian government to give us a chance. Everything that we have belongs to you. Don't you ever think that when we come here to settle, our children comes. When our children comes, they will join with Gambians. Even our generations has joined with Gambians. And all what we have in the next 20 years, 30 years, you will not know the difference between people that's returning back and people that are here, because they will become a total part of the community. So what we're saying today is, we're saying that we need somebody out there to look at this situation. Somebody out there to realize that we've come home and we want to feel at home. But we don't want to keep repeating and asking. We have no threat to anybody. We want to open hospitals, high-end hospitals. We want to open new schools. We want to open new factories and new industries. Right at this very moment, there is companies waiting to invest in the Gambia. The last company that I was dealing with wanted to invest £4 million into the Gambia through the diasporans. And one of our diasporans was trying to speak to one of the ministers and could not get an appointment. The other investments that we have is people are building housing estates. The other one that they're waiting to invest in is another one where they want to clean up all the waste of the Gambia and turn that waste into energy. So all your waste become energy, and they're not asking you for any money. So we come here with so many different skills. We come here, if you want aircraft wheel making, if you want anything of any form of technology, we come in with all the skills, and we're willing to give those skills out freely. You have a problem in the country with electricity. We can solve that problem within 1 year and give you 60% extra capacity. Immediately. It's not a problem. Why do you refuse all these skills? Why do you refuse all these skills? Why do you refuse all the things that can be done? We look at your beautiful children, and in the next 5 years, they need a future. In the next 10 years, they need a future. We have the ability to open up industries where your children can get employment into these fields. But all we need is a chance to be able to join in as a full member of the Gambian community. So that's why we're here today. You know, many is coming, you know, and, you know, we feel at home here in as far as your communities, your people love us and we love them. And there's no difference. You look like us, we are the same people. But what we are saying is, please, you need to get the government to listen. We're asking for the president to listen, okay? Even on setting up our citizenship, we are willing to pay the administration cost. All administration costs concerning setting up the 3-step process, we are willing to pay the administration cost, okay? So there is no cost to the Gambia, and we're still willing to pay our resident permit at the same time. You know, but we have been left out, and we cannot be left out anymore. So I hope that somebody will take this message back to the president, you know, and tell him that, you know, we need help. We need to get our citizenship. You know, there's too many of us coming, and we want to invest our money here, but we need the chance to be a citizen. So, you know, we welcome all the press today, and we just want you to do what you can, that we can make this way and make this thing happen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy. Before I open it up, can I just say that going back to the Council of African Descendants, maybe in the past, the government and the powers to be never had an organization that they can work with and they can focus with and they can move things on with. But we're here now. We're here to work with you, you know, and Gambia is going through a lot of changes at the moment. We want to be a positive change for Gambia. We want Gambia to embrace us because, you know, we're not threatening. We've been here for some time now, and people know the kind of a contribution that we've made on the ground here. As I said, maybe in the past there hasn't been that organization for bodies and for institutions and for the government to work with. But we're here and we're representing diasporans that are coming over. So the Council of African Descendants is your first stop. And from here, you know, we can do many good things together. I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything before I want to open it up. I know you want to say something.
I just want to add something that I actually forgot. So I want to talk about the 8th region, the diaspora in 8th region, that actually exists here in the Gambia. And we would like to push for more recognition within that as well. Because what I've noticed is that when they speak of the diaspora, when the government speaks of the diaspora, they're mainly speaking about Gambians who are in the diaspora, but they're not including us in that. So I would like that to also be addressed. We are also part of the 6th region, and also the African Union recognises us as Africans, and Gambia has also signed to that fact also. So all we need to do is to act on that fact. And we think it's important that this be logged, this be reported, and this be shared. So we're actually asking every single reporter here, that's why I've asked you to wear press cards, so that I can identify you all. I'm going to also ask for the sheet so I can say thank you on camera as well. But all of you here are part of making history. every single reporter, every single camera operative, every single person who's a broadcaster here, every single writer, every single person with a voice. You are part of making history. This is historical. When I think about the journey that our ancestors took, it was one of the hardest journeys that was taken. And I want you to imagine the journey of maybe my great-great-grandmother. And she was taken, she was a child, and at the shores, when they were in the dungeons, she was separated from her mum and her brother and her father. Her father was put on one ship that went to Brazil. Her mother went to Virginia in America. She ended up in Jamaica in the Caribbean, and her brother ended up in French Guiana. This is what has happened to us. So we didn't ask to leave. She screamed and she cried and she begged for them not to take her children away from her here on the shores of Touray. She cried for her children to know that she was never, ever, ever going to see them again. And now we've returned home, our mother is rejecting us. Our mother has forgotten us. Our mother doesn't even feel that we belong, and we have to lock the door for 15 long years before our mother will open that door. So open the door, Mama Africa, and let us in. Now we open the floor for questions. Thank you so much for coming. Please ask your questions. Just raise your hand and we'll answer.
Is that extra mic there? Yeah, Adrian has the mic.
Okay. Introduce yourself, media house, before you ask your questions.
Thank you. And please say who you'd like to ask the question. Who you'd like to ask the question.
You have to keep the mic close. Yeah. Questions?
Questions, reporters? No questions?
Yes. I have a question.
So BlaXit Family, BlaXit Family, BlaXit Family. The reporters have no questions.
Yeah, welcome to Gambia.
Thank you so much.
Often, a lot of times, sometimes our reporters don't have questions.
Oh, okay.
So when you hear that, I'm in for a good ride.
Oh, thank you. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Yay!
My name is Yusuf Taylor, I'm working for Ghana for Online News. My question, first of all, I have two questions. Any one of you can answer. My first question is regarding the issue of citizenship. Are you willing, as the council, the COAD, is COAD willing to give up their current citizenship for a Gambian citizenship, or are they more interested generally to have like dual citizenship? First question. Then the second question is just such a coincidence that EU, Britain, and US and Germany have released a press release just yesterday saying that Gambia National Assembly members should go ahead and progress the constitution. What's your view about EU sort of saying telling Gambia what to, and obviously the other countries which I've mentioned, you know, what's your view about? I don't know if you guys have seen that press release.
Yeah, I have.
Reaction to that.
Yeah, I've heard. I'm going to answer, and I think we can all answer. Firstly, with regard to giving out my passport, after calling England a dump, I think they've done very welcome anyway, so I don't think my English passport has much use. So I would gladly welcome having a Gambian passport. And I think the issue of regarding dual citizenship should be one that should be open, because many of my Gambian family and friends here, my brothers and sisters, they have dual citizenship. So I don't really think that a question, but in asking mine, I don't think my British passport is of any value at the moment anyway. So I also want to thank Honourable Osman Touray for championing the cause for us as well in the National Assembly and mentioning it yesterday, so we do appreciate that. And we hope that many other ministers follow suit. But in answer to your second question, you just mentioned the colonials, as I call them, yeah? Now let me explain to you about the colonials. The colonials have never had Africa's best interest at heart. Never. They had the Berlin Conference, and within the Berlin Conference, they divided up Africa into, like a cake, slices, and all took a bite out of Africa, and they're still taking a bite out of Africa. So it interests them to ensure that their constitution does not benefit us, because they don't want us coming back. They want Africa to still be dependent, a dependent state on the colonial masters for handouts. They want you to be like the children in those aid adverts, always looking for handouts like you're poor. But you know what? The world has moved on. UK is no longer in the EU. Things have changed. America is no longer great. And if you look at all their leaders, it's the best comedy show I've seen for years. So I don't think that they're in a position to dictate to anyone about constitution. And as for the UK, they have an unwritten constitution. Although they like to come in and interfere in other people's affairs. So what I would say is about time Africa followed suit with regard to what Rwanda has done. Let Africa be your model of progression. Stop looking to the white man for your model of progression. We don't need white saviors no more, Africa. We have moved on. We have moved on. So, Rwanda has repealed thousands of colonial laws. I suggest Gambia, West Africa, all African nations do the same. It's time to build Africa and make Africa great again. And we can only do that when we come together. And that's why we're here. And that's the reason why they agreed it and why we don't agree with the exclusion of us in the Constitution. They like it because you shorten the time that it takes for people to have citizenship by registration, and that is registered when you get married. So that shortened. The majority of people I see coming here to marry Gambians don't look like me. So does that mean that you welcome other races to come in and marry Gambians, but then because we're married to black people, because we're black families and we're black unions of love, that means that we have to stand outside the door? Follow Rwanda. Africa first, Gambia first. If it ain't good for Gambia, it ain't good. Simples. We're good for Gambia. That's all I've got to say.
Thanks. Let me just try and speak for some of the members. The problem with having having exclusively a Gambian passport, the reality is that, don't forget, these people who now become Gambian citizens still have families in England or in America or in various other places. So having dual citizenship sometimes is essential for them, because as much as they've turned their back on the country, they can't be turning their back on their families. And and also, I won't go into the health aspect of it, because even ministers leave their countries to go to these places for health reasons. But a lot of people who are at an age where they do need some form of health care. So I've been realistic about it. And the other side, to your other question, I think, Gambia decides on what's best for themselves. Whether it be having to go over the Constitution again, or whether it be going with the Constitution that it has, it should be up to Gambia without outside interference. What is good for Gambia is good for us as people who are coming in. That's my view.
as far as passports are concerned, having a dual passport may be an advantage for some. Some may want to visit their families, as Matthew was saying. But you can put this on camera, you can take mine and put it in the bin, the UK passport. Don't put it in, just burn it. It's not no relevance to me. That is how bad that place is, and that's just how that place is treating us as a family. I have 7 children, and we've been attacked, we've been beaten by the police, we've been abused in the courts. These people have no right to comment on anybody's constitution, because they're not constitutionally legally, and they act as criminals. And you may not like what I'm saying, but Africa needs to stand. Africa has everything it needs. Do you realize that the UK has no gold? I want you to go away and think about this. I know you might not understand it. Europe has no gold. Europe has no silver. Europe has no platinum. Europe has no coffee. Europe has literally no minerals at all. What Europe does is they go and cut a tree down in the forest, process the tree, print something on the paper, and come and add it to Africa and take your gold and go off with it. And they'll tell you that Africa is poor. Europe is on its way down. The Western world is finished. So Africa, wake up, stand up, because Europe cannot. If Europe should be telling you what to do, look at the crime in Europe. Look at the murders. Look at the people committing suicide. Young kids now are committing suicide. Look at the people dying. Okay? Look at the people sleeping on the street. And you say that's successful. How can they give advice? How can they give advice? Africa is rich. Africa is moving. Africa is blessed.
Thank you. Second,
my name is Ibrahim Jara. I work for Think FM Radio. During your deliberation, you did mention that you have a lot of social development of the country. I want clarity. So this suggests that if you get a citizenship, you are not going ahead with the plan that you have for the conference.
No, I think that the situation is this, is that at the moment, people who are coming to resettle here are coming to resettle not for 5 years or 6 years, or has been sending the constitution for 30 years, that might be renewed for another 30 years. They're coming to resettle. That means that if they're investing, take me as an example, if they're investing, they want their investment to be passed on to their grandchildren and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren, as anybody here would want.
Is an insecure investment because of the constitution that I have got no power or control over. That's why we're talking to the media, because even though we had our say wasn't good enough, and it didn't have any far-reaching implications. So, Luke?
Yes.
Are we answering your question?
Yes. So, in as far as investments are concerned, people are leaving America and Europe, but some of them are only partly selling some of their properties. Not all their properties have been sold. So yes, it will affect investment big time. If you think on average, the people that are coming in, if they sell one of their properties in Europe, you're talking in many millions of dollars, many millions of dollars. So if they're not willing to sell all their properties, then that money will not come here. It will stay in Europe. Then we have investors that want to invest in very big projects, but they want to put the money through the diasporans like us, that we can put out build the units and these different industries, that we can have Gambians work in those industries and help us to build them. but they're not willing to put their money in because there is the know-how, the skill, some of the skills are not here. So what we're saying is we bring our skill open-handedly, we bring the money from those people open-handedly, invest it, and let it go to the children of the Gambia, okay? And the children of the Gambia, somebody was saying, we also invest our money, but when our money goes to our grandchildren, our money ends back up your grandchildren, it's our grandchildren. It only takes 1 or 2 years, maybe 5, 10 years, and that's the situation that will happen. So what I'm saying is massive investments are being limited because of the Constitution. Because people want to invest, but they want to invest in diasporas that has the skill to pass on to other people in the Gambia, and also to develop the Gambia. So there's millions and millions and millions of pounds, okay, going into billions that will not come into the Gambia if the laws do not change.
Is there any more questions on the floor, please? Go ahead.
My name is Binta Jallow and I work for Eco TV International. I have, I think, 3 questions. The first question is, have you tried to engage the authorities before now on this issue? And the second one is, what happens if all efforts are put in and then actually nothing has been done? Are you guys going to give up? Are you guys going to continue fighting to make sure you have your right in this country? And the final question is, are there many of you out there who wants to come back to the Gambia and settle down here and invest? Thank you.
One of the questions that you've asked, which is the second question, that first of all, there are many people wanting to come here and invest, but if this doesn't happen, we're here and we're going to keep on fighting to make it a reality. So let's short answer.
Okay. Quick short answer is private members bill is a possibility, legal action is a possibility. There's lots of possibilities, but yeah, we are going to keep fighting. But the main possibility that we would like to see happen is actually just a conversation. I think a conversation, a dialogue, opening that dialogue is important. And so we're not being ignored. So I think that's where we should stand with that. In terms of, for future reference moving forward, through BlaXit, through BlaXit, we know of at least 1,000 people who would like to invest and repatriate, and that includes Europe and also the US and parts of Europe as well, including Germany and Holland. However, there are also many Gambians who live in Europe and have lived in Europe for many reasons, sometimes political reasons, have watched BlaXit, the channel, and have seen the differences that has happened, the changes that have happened here in the Gambia, and as a result of that, have decided to come back home. So there are many of those cases of returning Gambians who I have met personally, who have come and reinvested back in their home, happy to be home. And so we are doing a service by showing the best of the Gambia. We're showing a view that people need to see, and I think that's important. So I think it's a joint effort. Yeah, it's a joint effort.
Okay. Radio presenter. Sorry, did we answer? I know we didn't answer one of your questions.
What was one? What was the last one?
That's right. Go to the radio.
It's okay.
Because I can remember sometimes 2007, 2008, the Haley family from America, they wanted to come and settle in my village, Touray, but due to this citizenship issue, they went back and they couldn't come to settle. And then the land that was allocated to them, the land is still available there. Are the Council of African Descendants planning to resettle at a village or in the urban areas?
Are we doing what, sorry?
Like, do you have any plan to settle at the villages? Or any village allocated for you to settle? Or your main target is the combo areas?
No, definitely not. If you talk to us later on, if you talk to Juliet or talk to Luke, or even some of the members who were here, you'll find out that most of them are outside the compound. They're not just wanting to be in Congo. They're really wanting to be in a lot of them in the rural areas. Is there anybody else in the radio?
Yes.
There are members from Khartoum as well. That's it. People live in Khartoum, some people live in Basay, some people all over the place. We're all over the place. Yes, in radio station, please.
It was a reporter with the Standard newspaper.
Standard, thank you.
My question would just be a general one on the draft. I just want to ask what is your overall impression of the draft content, because we are looking forward, of course, for you to for your wishes to be granted in the future. Is possible, and we are looking forward to that. And when that happens, you will be Gambians, as me, as any other person who is here. So, what is your overall impression of the draft?
We want to get too much into political issues. Very briefly, is that I hoped it would be more far-reaching than it actually was. It's very similar to the 1997 Constitution. There's very little change. So I was rather disappointed in the fact that more of the suggestions that I read in the report by the CRC was not implemented into the Constitution, and that includes Section 188, which we want to be included.
Any more questions?
Yes.
At the back of the
No, here.
Oh,
The reason behind the press conference is to make sure the president hear your voice. And I remember during the deliberation you said an investor came here trying to see a minister, and it was impossible. Obviously your message will be heard from today onwards. But there's another question, if they will reply. Now that the council is formed, what is the next step after this press conference, or just organize the press conference and follow your work? What is the next step?
and we have plans to go forward and meet quite a few of the ministers to see that, what we're trying to go forward with will happen. Now, my colleagues want to elaborate.
Yeah, we are at the moment speaking to the minority leader, minister, and he's supporting us, and another minister which has gone out of the way to support us. They understand the total situation of what we're going through. So we've been visiting the assembly on a regular basis, but we've been doing this for a while. This has been going on, as the young lady asked, for maybe how many years when you came here? From 2012. And this is why we're very irritated. But we now have an organization, and we don't want to delay on this, because this can be cleared up very simply. You can either go back to the old constitution and include us in that, and that's the easiest way to do it, or bring us into this one. But we've been talking about this and crying about it, talking about it, going to speak to people, and nothing has changed. Now we have the minority leader and the other minister promising us that this cannot go on. Okay, we're the same people, and we should not be treated this way. And we've got promises, so we now are going to take everybody by their word.
I just want to say that we have a strategy, and the strategy moving forward is going to be constant engagement with ministers. We have met with Mr. Jar, who is the ambassador for the diaspora. We've also met with the PRO, Foreign Affairs Ministry. We've also met with the Internal Affairs Minister. We've also met with the Agricultural Minister. We've also met with so many people, mind boggles, in terms of trying to move this forward. And I think to land short of saying that moving this forward, we don't have a choice. So we're going to work towards a strategy to ensure that at some point.
I lived in the UK for 11 years, so when you're talking about what the experiences are, I know exactly what it's like. But I've also interviewed another African descendant, diaspora, lady from the UK. And she was talking about the fact that citizenship is tied to land when you look at the Constitution.
Yes.
And so my main question is to speak to that, and the fact that some of you, like we're in this place, what would happen when you are forced by the Constitution to sell it to only a Gambian. So that's my main point about the land. But secondly is COAD. How many members do you have currently within COAD as an organization? How many members do you have? Because to be honest to you, and I'm gonna tell you the honest truth, there are Gambians who are actually concerned. They feel like, let me read you one comment right now. It says, please Gambian journalists, don't let these people fool us with automatic citizenship, which will give them enormous opportunities and power to control our resources. So there are Gambians out there who are very selfish about their citizenship. So just to be straight up with you.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that completely. We attended one of the meetings that the group, the people who were writing the new constitutional paper, CRC, in Banjul, and that came up at that point. And you know, it was around land, as you said, it was around land. And what people were feeling was that, you know, we're here to buy land and take land, and you know, and they won't be able to live in the communities that they know because the prices of the land in those communities have gone up because people on the outside are buying land. You know, most of the land that's been sold here has been sold by yourself.
Exactly.
It's been sold by people from Gambia. It's been sold by some of these big companies who've gone around to these areas and have bought, well, Indians as well, but I wouldn't just put it down to any one community. But it's been sold by Gambians. Gambians have sold that land, and by and large, when they sell the land to us, it's land that's been sold and then sold over again and sold over again to the same person. So, you know, we have a problem where that's concerned, and that's a big problem. But, you know, I don't think that they have to be fearful, because here we're talking about individuals coming to find a piece of land for themselves and their family. We're not talking about big corporations like Swami or these other big organizations that are jumping in on the land grab, if you want to look at it like that. But I understand their fear. But what it would mean is that the government have to be proactive about it. It doesn't mean that they have to take away people's civil rights within the Constitution so that they can't get land. So I'll give you just one example. You know, on the radio you hear sometimes these adverts that go out by the GTB, Gambian Tourist Board, to say that, oh, if anybody buys any land in areas that they shouldn't, we're going to come down and we're going to bulldoze down your property, you know, and you're not going to be able to stay there. They know who are selling it. Why don't they prosecute the people who are selling it? Not the people who are buying it. Prosecute the people who are selling it. Deal with your laws properly. You know, this whole issue of land is got to the point now where it's ridiculous, because you have people don't know, even when they do their due diligence and they talk to the Alcalos and they talk to the this and they talk to the that and they go up to all the places that they need to go. The people who are involved are the same people who are involved with selling land over and over in the wrong places to the wrong people. I mean, it's an issue that, seriously, that the government, Gambia is not the biggest place in the world. And I do understand their problem. But their problem shouldn't be with us. Their problem should be with the laws and the liberty that they give. Anybody can be an estate agent in this country. Anybody. If you want to be an estate agent tomorrow, your president was an estate agent. You understand? Well, from an estate agent, you can be a president. But you know, the problem shouldn't be with us, and I just want people to understand. Yeah, I'll allow you both to say something. I'm beating my 1 minute rule here. But I'm going over time. But I'm passionate about this because I saw it. I saw what you're saying. I saw that there was a fear amongst the population that, you know, these people are coming in and these people have resources that we don't have. We have resources that they don't have. You know, when I bought this particular place, it was developed by a man called Sambu. That man used to live in Macau, and he did fairly well with his little restaurant, and he bought this. This land was craters going all the way down, and next to him is Bakadaji. And Bakadaji Mr. Bakadaji, Mr. Unjai, used to say to me, look, I do not understand why Mr. Sambu even bought this piece of land. But he bought this piece of land, he leveled this piece of land out, and he built not what you see now, but he built something on here. He lost that land to the banks. He lost it after all his efforts. I felt for him. He lost it to the bank. A rich Indian trader in Banjul, he bought this land for his son. He bought it for his son, and at the end of the day, he couldn't continue his business, so he put it up for sale. When I bought this land, my solicitor was Sheriff Tambadou. He had never seen me in my life. I was here for 2 weeks, so I couldn't even see him when I bought this land. I met him in London. He walked past me about 4 times before I stopped him, and I said, are you Sheriff? He said, yes. He said, are you Matthew? So I said, yes. He embraced me, he hugged me, and he couldn't believe it was a black man that was buying this land. He said, this has never happened before in his time here. But why shouldn't we? Why should, would you accept this if this was a white man or an Indian man? Would it be more acceptable? You know, let me just say one thing before. I've heard lots of talk here today, right? But most of you people here, it's my birthday today. I am 65 years old. I know, God is blessing me. But let me just say this. Most of you people who are here now are very young people. The future of Africa is in your hands. It's in your hands. Don't be fooled by all of this talk and talk and talk and talk. You know what's right, and you know what's right for your families. Just do the right thing. We are not threatening. We are helping.
No, I want to say that we come from the UK where we bought our houses and whatever we wanted freely, without fear, in a white man's land. So to come home and to hear this in your home, but I look at Makasutu. Makasutu is owned by who?
White man.
By who? 2 white men. How many square meters? 5,000 square meters of land owned by 2 white men. And I never hear one complaint. Yeah? I never hear one complaint. Don't fight your brothers and your sisters, work in harmony with us. We don't come in here to do anything except for work in harmonious peace. Okay? And that has to be said over and over again. I don't see anyone going to gym pegs with placards. I don't see anyone going to gym pegs complaining. I don't see anyone going to gym pegs. Right? I don't see anyone going out there and saying we're going to boycott these Asian businesses. I don't see anyone standing outside of Batimat. I don't see anyone going to outside of Express. Yeah? I don't see anyone doing this. So don't fight us.
That's right.
We're your brothers and your sisters. Don't fight us, work with us, let's work together. Because together, you won't have a Batimat, you have a Gambi man. Yeah? You won't have a Gympex, you have a Gamplex. Yeah? Yeah. So let's just move forward with this family. They don't want you to work with us because they don't want the money coming from the white countries back into Africa, into the black man's hands. So let's work together, put it together, let's change the constitution, Yeah, let's change the laws, change the immigration laws, change whatever laws need to be changed, because we're the people that can make a difference. Everybody in your National Assembly is a human being, just like me. Eat, drink, just like me. Talk, just like me. Sit down, just like me. So I want to say thank you to Landing Sese from Paradise FM, Janky Sese, Paradise FM. Okay. I want to say thank you to Sharif Jongo as well. I want to say thank you to Jackie from the Fatu Network. Am I saying your name right? I hope so. Fode Jawara from, what's this one? WOG. I want to thank you. Omar Bar from The Standard. I want to thank Yankasa Jallow from the Faraya. I want to thank Babu Kastay from QTV. I want to thank Mamadou Saidi from TFM. I want to thank Voice Newspaper, Mariana and John. I want to thank Tariq's Korea, also from the Voice Newspaper. I want to thank Peter Jallow, also from Echo TV. Am I saying that right? Yeah? Okay, if I'm wrong, just correct me. Yusuf Taylor as well. Yeah, Usman Singhor from SA Movement. I want to thank, I can't quite understand this, I think it's Bonnie from Ballast Radio, Block TV, Saminata, Maria Sase from Block TV, Campbell Lay from the Gambia. What is that, what's on Gambia? No. Okay. Gay TV, Paradise TV, Christopher Darbo, Mona Bukali from Paradise TV, Ali Drami from Paradise TV, Ibrahim Ajara from Kings FM, and Saya Jesse from Touray FM. So if I'm missing anyone, I want to say thank you. Come to me for your expenses. Please get some refreshments. One by one, come to me for your expenses. I have your names here.
You're traveling alone? Okay.
Yeah, your travel expenses. Yeah, and villages. Let me say thank you to everyone.
One nation, one Africa. Thank you, BlaXit family. Please keep watching, please subscribing, and remember, follow your dreams.
Purchase your tracks today.
Emperor made this.
Purchase your tracks today. 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 your tracks today.
Emperor made this.